All right, let's get going here with game number one. I'm gonna be reviewing here, titled "Good-ish." Okay, so we'll see how this first game goes. Playing on Pier. Obviously, you're gonna chop this up the way you want to chop it up, but yeah, I'm just gonna talk throughout the entirety, and you take it what you think you need. So, going Bazaar Bargain here. First point on Pier. Nice first shot. You kind of know what your priority targets are. Probably not enough time for a spy to have reached you and put any kind of threat on you at this point. So you can hard scope pretty effectively. When you're playing the Bazaar Bargain, your main goal is to get, I believe, 4 heads as fast as possible, which brings you, if I'm correct, 4 heads brings you back to stock level. I may be incorrect. It might just be 2 or something, but you're trying to rack up heads as fast as possible to get all the advantages of the Bazaar Bargain. So, right now, you're playing well around your team. You kind of try and get some free kills on the payload. At this point, you're venturing into the territory of, this shoulder, you got lucky that he was milked. You probably should have vacated this part of the map. You're trapped in a corner here. Your NG was not going to have lasting power. It's working out for you, but you probably should have been killed with that soldier immediately. But yeah, not a bad thing. But yeah, you've already got 3 heads. My best advice when you're using the Bazaar Bargain is don't play overly passively. Don't play like those heads are a precious commodity. Just play normally and let the advantages of the weapon kind of play for themselves. Nice shot on that sniper. You're doing a good job. This part on Pier. Pier is not one of my most played maps ever, but I relatively know what's going on. First thing that is immediately noticeable, and it's not like a major weakness or anything, but it's an end game, essentially sniper tactic that you can start implementing. Anybody can implement immediately into their gameplay to have pretty much instant results. And the better you get at it, the better you get at sniper. It's essentially you want to do 90% of your aiming on sniper outside of your scope. So what that means is essentially, treat your outside of your scope like you're a heavy, like you've got the Quake lightning gun, and you're just doing pure tracking outside of your scope. And you track them as quickly as possible, and when you think your crosshair is close to their head, or as close to, you can even use some prediction, put the crosshair as close to as where you think they're going to be by the time you scope in. That's where all the heavy lifting of sniper happens. So when you scope in, you've already got the easiest shot possible. You have the most consistent muscle memory available to you. Every time you scope in on someone's head, ideally, you're putting yourself in a position where you're giving yourself the most consistent flick or little bit of tracking you can give every single time, so you can really build those, micro adjustments, build that muscle memory up, and you're looking for consistency on sniper. That is key. So far, you probably got a little caught out there. Positioning can be tough. Pure, a lot of little back routes, but for a payload map on defense sniper, you kind of have every advantage to yourself. You did the right thing there. Sniper is your number 1 priority 100% of the time. Sniper is your main priority. The only other target that ever takes priority over a sniper as a sniper is a medic that has Uber and is getting ready to push. That's the only other target I would say you should maybe for a moment try to kill 100% of the time, but 99% of the time, if you know there's a sniper, they're getting ready to peek angles, you are the best defense against an enemy sniper. So, good job so far, holding these angles. Right choice. Your sniper went in front of you there. You did the right thing to stay back. But yeah, so that would be, not saying I'd have known that flank was going to be available immediately there, but yeah, having some knowledge that flank in the bottom route there is going to essentially be overwhelmed quickly. You would have wanted to get out of there 10-15 seconds before that and set yourself up a little farther back. Again, you're a sniper on Pier, any payload map really. Depending on how aggressively your general playstyle is, there's still really no reason to be unnecessarily aggressive. You're going to have shots available to you all the time. So no matter how much you like, if you want to shoot the most shots possible in the game, there's still a safe range. You can probably do that on every single payload map. Right now, that is about here. This is a good spot to hold when I play Pier. You got a little health pack behind you. This door actually works as a nice little spy checker. Any shutter door or anything like that is a nice spy checker, where if you're not using it or if it's close by, you can kind of keep a close eye on things. I'm not sure there's ever a good way to spy check for the uber aggressive Flog Pyro who looks like he just killed almost your entire team. So, is what it is. Not sure if footsteps could have been a factor there. I wasn't able to pick anything up on my own, so. When it comes to the Bazaar Bargain, I think there's a couple schools of thought from sniper mains on, Is it objectively better than stock? A lot of people would say if you've got pretty good aim, the Bazaar Bargain, you should be getting, pretty quickly the heads that you need to make it a direct upgrade to stock. And I think there's an argument to that. I've actually always been of the school of thought, though, that stock to me just has a level of consistency. If you consistently play somewhat aggressively and smart, I still think stock is as good, if not a little bit better than the bargain, just for the level of consistency of always knowing exactly what your charge timings are going to be. Even when Bazaar Bargain starts racking up a little bit faster, sometimes just not being aware of how fast it's charging, etc. I like the consistency of stock. So again, I think one thing that's just letting you down a little bit here, like I mentioned earlier, is just I think you're scoping in. You're kind of just, you'll see a target in front of you, and you will scope in somewhat in their general vicinity, and then you leave it to yourself to then have to do a large flick or a lot of tracking in scope. Sometimes time is of the essence, so you don't have time to do a perfect out-of-scope track on a target to give yourself an optimal scope-in headshot, but a lot of the time here, you've got plenty of time to out-of-scope, have good movement, be aware as possible, and then do your tracking out of scope to the head, and then scope in and take a relatively quick shot, especially with the bargain, with the faster charge time you end up getting. So you're working that sniper sight line. I would almost argue that when a sniper is that far back, especially a sniper that hasn't posed itself to be particularly formidable, there's not a whole lot that sniper can do. All you're really doing by consistently peeking the same angle on this sniper, even though you are getting kills, again, you kill him even there, but I would say all you're doing there is giving him a chance to hold that angle and maybe just body shot you or something. You're the better sniper in that scenario. I think it's pretty obvious. Don't make yourself predictable and an easy target to someone who really, he's not going to kill anybody but you. So know your value essentially on sniper. Don't give that guy even the chance to get a kill on you when you're just doing a lot of work holding them off the payload. So I would say hold just a slightly different angle there. Maybe every now and then go for a very quick peek on him where you think you might be able to get a quick frag. And whether he's there or not, you then fall back. So right there, you knew the soldier of the demo was charging you. Not a bad thing to, turn around, do a little jump, maybe anticipating a bit of a surf. But what I would like to have seen there actually is you keep your eyes on the target. And while they're jumping at you or while they're charging at you, you're not going to make any you're not going to run away fast enough in that moment if they actually get on you. So you keep your eye on them. That way you can actually maybe time a proper surf when they get close to you and you see that rocket coming. And you can just do a nice, easy backward strafe out of there. It's the more you can look at your target, the better. It's just always going to give you more control over where you're going. Peeking this corner on Pierre, decent. It's one of the few times that I would actually say taking slightly lower ground and holding kind of a bit of a head glitch here. There are head glitches exist in TF2 as well, where you can just you can see the entirety of their bodies and all they can see is a small portion of yours. So if you hold in that little inlet next to the stairs, you're just not availing them the entirety of your hitbox, where you've got, still a pretty consistent straight flat angle on them. Overall, you're doing a good job here though. This last point on Pierre is kind of ridiculous. If they don't have like a spy presence or something, snipers do get a bit of a free setup on this little, you're sitting in the best spot. The only other, I think maybe slightly better spot would be to your left. You've got a bit of a battlement you can stand on where you've got a slightly better angle into, I don't know what that room with the arches would be called. In comp, it'd probably be called like cafe or something, but it's a pretty good spot. There's not a whole lot you can do. I'd say right now, with a bit of a lull in the action, you could have probably taken this back flank route, seeing if you can get a charge shot on like a heavy here or someone coming in, maybe get a cheeky kill on a medic. The only times where you really want to do that hyper aggressively, like unless you're just playing for a ton of fun and you just want to play aggressively, nothing wrong with that. But if you're just looking to improve, work on your fundamentals, like you're doing the right thing here. You've got, there's a bit of a team wipe, there's a lull in the action. That's where you can peek wide angles like this. Try to get maybe 1 or 2 kills. Keep the spawns on a bad rotation for them. But yeah, as soon as things start falling apart, and you did it pretty much to a T here. As soon as things start falling apart, like if the sentry goes down or your directed soldier or medic die here, you start falling back. But you're doing the right thing. That scout, he's too close. Good job. Clear your zone. So that directing soldier in the background, though, he is doing a ton of work. I would prioritize him as a sniper, and as you get better at the game, that's just a little unfortunate. You get stuck on the stairs there. But yeah, as a sniper, as such a high-value target, such an influential target, pretty much on any map, especially payload, and especially on defense, you do have to kind of prioritize the players in the other team who are going to give your team the most trouble. Sniper's number 1, but their sniper's not that good, really, from what I can see. That directing soldier is essentially, he needs to be pegged as your target here. So, mark for death. I think, yeah, I mean, it would have been nice to land that Girardi, but not a terrible effort there. But I think right now, another one of your jobs, I think, on Sniper is to deal with mini sentries when you get the opportunity to. So I would have said maybe immediately going for a couple no-scopes on that mini sentry. 2 no-scopes on a mini sentry for full health will always destroy it, no matter what. That probably should have been your immediate priority instead of just trying to get a quick kill. But yeah, this is an incredibly strong spot on Pier. And identifying strong portions of the map when you're sniping is a huge part of Sniper. You can have the best aim in the world, but if you're playing in poor positions, you're just gonna get yourself killed in stupid ways, really. The best snipers are the ones that just really abuse kind of poorly designed sight lines, especially on payload maps. There's just, even on payload maps that have better designed sight lines, there are just always going to be good angles snipers can hold on defense, especially where if snipers know how to hold it, it's just a nightmare to try and push into. So here, this is risky because there hasn't been that, so there wasn't really enough of a lull in the action there. That guy's godlike. He's fragging out again. Probably that guy should be your target. But yeah, things were clearly happening either on the flank or there was a good rotation of their spawns coming in at that moment. So pushing in onto the cart there was unnecessary. They don't seem to be pressuring with a lot of spies or flanks at the moment, so you should feel pretty safe back here until they essentially make you feel unsafe in the backlines. You can pretty safely play the backlines. You're just so valuable back there. Even just being alive on Sniper is so impactful. So there again, I think a little bit of patience on that scout would have been nice. You didn't need to, you got a little flicky, a little flaily with your scope when you scoped in there. A little bit of patience, kind of maybe let them come into the crosshair, etc. If you're not in a great deal of duress in the middle of a fight, you don't need to go for the fastest kill in the world. Sometimes take a little bit extra time. You take 1 second to watch someone's movement, time up, line up a shot smoothly. You're going to hit a lot more shots. So keep an eye on the flank here. I think it's not a great spot. You don't want to have both your right and left kind of available to a flank there. There's where you want to fall back to about where you're going. I'd say up this roller coaster is good. So you saw that directed soldier, the one who is, on that kill streak. He's going to be the one doing a lot of damage to your team. You're back here with 2 other snipers in the moment. You're probably a flank target for a spy. I would look to that flank and be ready for that soldier to come. I'm not sure if he ever makes that move. Yeah, so when you get all those snipers, I don't like to snipe next to other snipers as much as possible. Even if it is let's say, the optimal position to be standing in, you just put yourself in such an awkward position, and you really just kind of limit the effectiveness of having multiple snipers on a team. If you're all standing in one spot, you're probably shooting similar targets, and it kind of just defeats the purpose. But yeah, again, here's the soldier again. He's got to be your main focus. You've got pretty free reign of being able to see anyone coming in and putting pressure on your team from this point on the map. So identifying targets is so important. Once the team pushes in here, usually this point becomes a bit of a roll because you walk into your spawn door and you've got to ride a goddamn roller coaster just to get to the cart. So yeah, it was over at that point. All right, we will move on to the other video here. Okay, second map here. We're on Borneo. I've got slightly better map knowledge of Borneo compared to Pier, so hopefully my map knowledge can come out a little bit stronger here, but all the same points should be relatively the same. So on Borneo, this is the sight line. Unless your team's pushed really far up, you don't need to be up front. There's just too many angles to get killed from. You can go up there, maybe get 1 or 2 kills, but for the most part, Sniper is, you want to snipe in essentially positional layers for the most part. So you'll start in, usually on payload mobs, you can start in payload maps, you'll start in the most aggressive layer first. But once you get 1 or 2 kills, maybe even 1, or even just take a shot, whether you get a kill or not, you want to essentially rotate. You want to keep your rotations unpredictable, especially if you're counter-sniping people. You just don't want your position to be easily acknowledged by the enemy team so they can do a bomb or send a spy in. One good player on the other team with any flanking potential will identify a sniper, and if they're not mixing up their positions, they'll pretty easily take them out of the equation most of the time. especially when it comes to counter sniping. Knowing where a sniper is before I see them and when they don't know where I am, it's the easiest kill in the world. So I'd say right now, I mean, yeah, you're playing around your NG nest. There's not a lot you can do. Your team's kind of getting flanked in here, so I think just playing on this corner is a good play. You should be relatively safe. SMG, ooh, Australian SMG too. Love it. I mean, Girardi is broken in my opinion. I think Girardi is one of the most broken items in the game. So, you know, not running the Girardi is, in theory, probably always putting yourself or your team at a bit of a disadvantage, but I am an SMG lover. I think it helps with tracking practice, has, you know, transferability to all classes, and I think it's just really good at cleaning up kills on sniper, especially if you play somewhat aggressively. So, you know, you're racking up the heads right now. That's unfortunate. I think they're another time, like I had mentioned on the other map, you kind of want to keep your targets. When you ate that first pipe or took all that damage, went down to 25 HP, you want to keep those targets in your line of sight in front of you there. Just turning around and beelining it for the closest dispenser or health pack. It's technically the fastest way to get there, but you make your movement incredibly predictable, and you don't give yourself any ability to dodge. If you had turned and looked there and you'd seen a pipe coming at you, you probably could have stopped, put in an unpredictable strafe, something like that, and gotten out of there. So something to be aware of. Just the turning around and running blindly in a straight line is just never a good look. And on sniper, you really don't have the mobility options where you have the speed or options to make that a good option anyway. So being sniper, it's a lot like playing medic in a lot of ways, where your mobility, how easy you are to hit, that's just bad luck. Nothing you can do there. But yeah, your mobility, how easy you are to hit, your ability to surf, your game sense, it's key. Obviously, aim is huge, but in a lot of ways, you don't have items that are going to help you escape situations, make you less difficult to kill, stuff like that. So you really have to rely on your positioning and your ability to survive scenarios, especially when you're at low health. So you got to be smart with it. That's where the SMG is really good. I think really underrated. Just kind of. That's unfortunate that you died there, but you just ate a force nature. Sometimes it happens. I think that was technically not a terrible play on your part. You probably never want to technically take on a scout 1v1 if you don't have to, but I'm okay with that play. But yeah, the SMG I think is a great deterrent. I think if you're not running an SMG, a lot of enemies will run at you, and you're left with either no scoping or going for a quick scope. And they kind of gets them a little fearless. But the SMG, you can aim and have good movement at the same time, and it just puts pressure on the enemy to kind of get a kill and make something happen. And a lot of people do not fare with that pressure well. So using the SMG to just kind of put some shots on somebody who's trying to pressure you is a really good way. Maybe you don't kill them, but you can make them panic a little bit. And as long as you keep your cool, keep your movement pretty unpredictable, and your aim relatively steady, you can rack up a surprising amount of kills with the SMG. So here, I don't mind this choice. You're not in a good position here, but you kind of got blasted in. It's better than just kind of, like I said before, turning around and running in a straight line back where the enemy expects you to. So I like that move. This angle here, the fight's obviously going to favor your team. So this angle, as soon as you see that scout go by, I think it's your time to move. If that scout's able to walk in like that, your team is clearly not putting up, like you've got people just walking in, your team's not putting up much of a resistance to that front doors. So you're going to survive here, but I'd say for the most part, there's really no reason to be holding in that room as soon as you saw a scout run by the payload. There are just better angles to hold. Personally, my favorite angle to hold is that rock just on the right of the screen there above your dispenser. You just go up to the top, jump on top of that, and you actually have some ridiculous angles. And you usually get the jump on a lot of people. That sniper pick, wouldn't worry too much about that. You hadn't really seen much in the way of counter snipers on their team yet. So, if you're assuming they have no snipers, I'm not going to tell you to just always assume a sniper's going to appear out of nowhere. That's a stressful, exhausting way to play. Sniper is already a class that, sniper is a tiring class to play. I don't care what anyone's, it's not that, doesn't have the most APM, let's say, of any other class. Also, you got robbed of a headshot there. You didn't do anything wrong. That's just bad luck. Sniper doesn't have the highest APM of any class, but it's certainly a class that, because of how precision heavy it is, it's just tiring, physically and mentally. And that's such an old man gamer thing to say, but it really is. You kind of got to pick your battles. So just always assuming there's a good sniper on the other team before that's been proven, you're going to wear yourself out. But that guy now, he shot you 2 times in a row. You've just got to be aware of that now. You've got to play into that. And you got to assume he's going to be around corners. This part of Borneo is tough because when your team's still pushed up and they haven't pushed the payload all the way forward, if there's going to be a force of nature scout or any player just kind of flanking, making your life difficult, you kind of just have to eat that one until things stabilize. So best advice would be buddy up with someone on the way out of spawn. So walking with this NG, hanging out. Yeah, so here at the very least, that heavy took the target away from you there. So anytime you can do that and just not be the only person someone has to look at and shoot, you're doing yourself a huge favor. This is definitely the best spot to hold. There are more aggressive angles you can hold on the far left that give you a better angle into that house on the right and down this tunnel. But I think with how far they've pushed up and knowing they have snipers and people on the flank, I think this is the right call. Not working out at the moment, but you're doing the right thing. You're kind of pressuring the cart. You're tunneling here too hard, I will say. You get the kill, and that's nice, but using the Bazaar Bargain, not having any heads, hard scoping is probably the last thing in the world you want to do, especially on an overhealed demo man, so you got to pick your fights better there. Very easily, scout could have come from the left, full team could have come from the right, pushed down, dropped on top of you. So yeah, tunneling, especially with the Bazaar Bargain there, where the charge is going to take forever. Also, you're not a sniper main until you get just absolutely hard baited and taunted by a friendly spy, so that's just an initiation play there. That's just going to happen. So right there, that play there, you did a good job of kind of pre-aiming with your crosshair on that heavy for the first shot, and then the second shot you just scoped in kind of a little carefree, and you had to do a lot of extra adjusting on a target that wasn't really moving. So that's again where having your crosshair in the right position can just make that shot a lot faster and more consistent. I like this play. That is a nice play to go for that medic, but now you need to get the hell out of there. That you're already here too long. This demo should kill you. You're very fortunate to get away, but as soon as you had that shot on that medic, it was time to leave. Something that I will say, though, from that interaction with that demo that you can really use to your advantage as sniper is because you're such a high priority target, you're such a pest, you're such an annoyance, and pretty much any other team should be doing everything they can possible to kill you. You can use that to your advantage. That demo was going to chase you to the ends of the earth to try to get that kill. And it got them killed. So I would say use that to your advantage. That's the SMG's really nice. Do some chip damage on the way out, and you can just lure people to their death a lot of the time. You don't have to go for some miracle shot where if you miss, you're standing perfectly still and are a guaranteed kill. Using your mobility and the desire the enemy team's going to have to kill you, very valuable. All right, so you've put yourself in a real bad spot here. Yeah, you're doomed the second you went right there. But as soon as you saw that sniper, the first interaction, your first move had to be, again, not blindly turning and running away to the safest position, but you needed to start moving, some good strafing, and get your movement going that direction. You went right, and then you put yourself in essentially an unwinnable position. You're going to die even if that guy doesn't hit the first headshot. So just knowing your escapes, knowing what you're walking into, especially coming back from spawn. As a fight wears on, that kind of thought process can fatigue a little bit, and you might make some mistakes you gotta shoot your way out of. But coming out of spawn, you just died. You kind of need to have a little bit of a game plan going back in. What killed me last life? What are my immediate threats? Where should I be? Really good streak right there, though. Taking out both snipers. You do a very good job, and it's something you need to translate to the rest of your gameplay. What you do with snipers is you have good crosshair placement for snipers, and it's something that makes a lot of sense. It's a lot of the counter-sniping game, and the sniper v sniper is having that good crosshair placement to be as fast and consistent as possible. So translate to that. Let's consider every person you shoot at a sniper. Get that crosshair right on their head so when you scope in, the smallest adjustment possible. It's a good angle here. Snipers on Borneo on attack 99% of the time will push top right there, because you're obviously not going to push from the low ground where the opposing sniper looking down on you will be able to see you before you ever see them. So holding this angle when they're pushing in is kind of guaranteed to be safe as long as they haven't advanced too far on the right. So you want to hold that angle and just keep people off the payload for as long as possible to stall their progress. But yeah, once some position is gained on that right side here on Borneo, this is probably my favorite spot to hold as long as there's a sentry or something protecting you from flanks, because you can see the entire map here. You've got a great angle. You really shouldn't get snuck up by anything at this point. And you can see the payload, which is really nice. So right here, though, it is collapsing. That scout probably should have killed you the first shot. It is what it is. Sometimes you kind of have to rely on your team to take care of those people right behind you. As a sniper, you can't just be going back every single time someone's flanking. But if you had noticed that guy was behind you, yeah, you've got to play a little differently. That's kind of been also, that's target recognition, player recognition more importantly. That guy's been not focusing you, but he's doing the right thing. He's, as a scout, especially on attack on payload, he's just, if he can get in and kill the sniper, even if he dies right afterwards, he's done his job. Nice job on that spy. Just kind of putting your crosshair again in a good spot and letting him kind of strafe back into the bullet. You could probably get away with being a half-decent sniper and that being the only way you aimed ever, just putting your crosshair relatively close to someone's head and then letting them slowly walk back into it eventually and timing that up. Not how you always want to aim, obviously, but a lot of the time, if you know you've got the time and you're not in a rush, you're not in a life or death situation to get a quick shot off, it's a really consistent way to get a headshot, or at the very least, maybe put a body shot or just put some good pressure. For the most part on a sniper, all you're trying to do is give yourself the best possible shot every single time you scope in. Not always possible. Sometimes you just got to go for the Hail Mary flick. But yeah, anytime you can put yourself in a position to have the most consistency to succeed, you're doing well. That sniper shot up there was really nice. You didn't go for a crazy flick immediately. You kind of watched his movement in scope for a moment, and then you kind of flicked back when his movement got a little bit more predictable. So definitely something you want to do in the sniper duel. You don't have to scope in and shoot immediately. If you scope in and they're strafing, they're waiting for you to shoot. That is essentially the idea of what second scoping and sniping duels is. Controversial. Yeah, you can have your different takes on it. I don't really care about it. Whatever gets the kill, I think is fine with me. But second scope is essentially waiting for the other sniper to shoot first, because when you shoot, you're obviously locked into a standstill animation, and you become a much easier target. But yeah, what you did was, I always tell people to try to shoot first as much as possible, because it gives you the best practice for those scenarios. And in theory, if you're performing well and you're shooting first, you're going to get the kill first. So I like to put myself in those positions. But, sometimes you get caught in a scenario where you just kind of watch someone's movement out of scope, and if they happen to shoot first, hey, that's not a bad way to secure a kill either. Last on Borneo, actually, because that little part of high ground is blocked off from the sniper route, it actually can make it a little tricky to get them coming off this flank here, which is, one of the more conventional pushes in, because you don't really want to push down the ramp if you can avoid it. So you do want to kind of play around the dispenser as much as possible. It gives you the best angles, kind of hold the left and right flank while keeping pressure on the payload. This is probably the worst angle you can hold, just because you're just giving up so much of your own body when you're looking up from the payload there, and giving up so much of your own body, and you really don't have a lot to worry. You're essentially reverse head glitching yourself at that point. So definitely wouldn't recommend holding there very often. There, I think the writing was on the wall that flank was collapsing. That's wild that guy actually pushes that hard and doesn't die to the sentry and kills you. But yeah, you not that you deserved it, but you put yourself in a really bad position there, where the best you were going to get there was maybe one more pick on somebody, and then you were almost certainly going to die. So as a sniper, 1-for-1 trades are really never worth it, other than maybe a medic drop on an Uber push or something before they come in. But yeah, you're so powerful, especially the better you get. You're just so valuable, and you just need to acknowledge your value as a good sniper. It's one of the most important things. If you don't think you are the most valuable player on your team as a sniper, you're probably not doing a very good job on sniper, or you're probably not very confident. And confidence is a lot of playing sniper and being consistent, because you got to be able to shake off the shots you miss. There's going to be a lot of them, and you got to be able to just get back in there and take the best shot possible next. So things are collapsing a little bit. That scout is causing just so much mayhem. It's very surprising, but you just got to keep coming out here with the game plan, and you play this same kind of high ground here, keeping an eye on the cart. Your team's getting back on things, doing a good job. Keep an eye on spies. Amazingly, yeah, spies are not the issue. It is scouts. Switching to the Razorback, in my opinion, it's really never a good call. Depends how lazy you're feeling on the day. But yeah, I've always said everything the Razorback does, you can just do with a pair of headphones, and then you don't have to take any of the negatives of what the Razorback is. Pair of headphones and, just occasionally turning around completely counters spies, even the good ones for the most part. So I run the Razorback because I'm a lazy guy sometimes. But so here, I don't mind the aggression there. And I'd say rule of thumb on sniper too is, you know, if a scout's dominating you and you've got a chance to kill him, that's one of the few times where maybe a 1-for-1 trade is worth it. You can give your life up to, you know, get that revenge. You got double robbed on that heavy. You should have killed him with both of those shots, but a spy get down Mr. President on the first one, and then a sniper took the second one. But I like this. I like this play. I like the aggression here. I hope you're gonna know when to kind of quit here. So yeah, this is the right play. That is the risk with aggression like that, is you are essentially giving their snipers, you're giving them a chance. You're putting yourself on, essentially, let's say you're both equal skill, you're putting yourself on a 50-50 scenario. Whereas if you're holding, you know, a very defendable position, like this guy here, he's doing a good job here putting himself, he's always going to get the better shot first. So where you were standing, it was aggressive. I didn't mind it, but yes, where that guy is actually sniping from is definitely still a good sight line. It can do pretty much everything you did, but you're not putting yourself on even footing with the other snipers. You're still holding an advantage. Defense on payload is always about playing an advantage. You dying, longer spawns, it's always bad to die on defense unless you've taken quite a few people with you, because any trade that an attacking team can get on you is a good trade because of faster spawns. So you really do have to value your life and your position on defense. There, again, just a bit of an example of, you scoped in when you were nowhere close to that pyro, and you had to do just a huge flick to the left, and it was just never going to happen. There's also no shame in just whipping out the SMG in a sniper duel. So good games. Both of those good games overall. I don't care how much sniper you play. Consistency is something that comes and goes. The best thing you can do is just focus on those fundamentals. Be confident. Positioning is something that no matter how bad your aim is on a certain day, what your confidence level is, positioning should never falter you if you're thinking about it. So focus on those things. Being aggressive is good, but there is smart aggression and dumb aggression. And I hope I was able to help you out a little bit. Hope everyone enjoyed that. If she's behind me and I'm in front of her, sometimes I'll do this. I'll go, I scared Chad out of the room, but I'll go, and I'll sprint ahead of her, and she calls it my gremlin noise. So